Every who down in Bonfield liked Christmas a lot, but the mayor of Bonfield did not. The mayor hated workers and the whole Christmas season. Now please don't ask why. No one knows quite the reason. It could be that his politics were too far to the right. That's been known to happen if you aren't too bright. Or if, like Tim Hudak, compassion you lack. Or if, like Rob Ford, you get drunk and smoke crack. But I think that the most likely reason of all may have been that his brain was 2 sizes too small. But whatever the reason, his brain or his bunions, this nasty old mayor really hated the unions. But the Bonfield town workers would not give up trying to take care of their town, though their mayor was lying about them as people and about their requests for a little more pay and a little more rest. They can starve in the cold, the mayor snarled with a sneer. He cared not for children, that was perfectly clear. Then he growled with his mayorly fingers a-drummin',
I'll keep workers out, although Christmas is coming.
He cared not that soon Bonfield girls and boys would wake up bright and early, hoping for toys. And then they would feast, they would feast, they would feast. They would start on who pudding and rare who roast beast, which was something the mayor couldn't stand in the least. He couldn't abide, no, he just wasn't able to see working families with food on their table. And then they'd do something he liked least of all. Every who down in Bonfield, the tall and the small, would stand close together with Christmas bells ringing. They'd stand hand in hand, and the who's would start singing. And the more the mayor thought of the Who Christmas Sing, the more the mayor thought, I must stop this whole thing. Then the mayor got an idea. An awful idea. The mayor got a terrible, awful idea. At that very moment, the mayor's spirits soared. He thought, I'll be a bigger jerk than Rob Ford.
By keeping my workers on the street through the Yule, I'll teach them a lesson just like they're in school.
And he made a quick Santa Claus hat and a coat. And he chuckled and clucked, on Christmas I'll gloat. With this coat and this hat and some bullshitty facts, I'll steal Christmas from Bonfield and won't give it back. Then the mayor started down into the town to bring sadness to Bonfield, to bring everyone down. All the windows were dark, quiet snow filled the air. All the who's were all dreaming sweet dreams without care. When he came to the first house down in the square, This is stop number 1, the nasty mayor hissed, as he climbed onto the roof, empty bags in his fist. Then he slid down the chimney, made it just by a hair. But if Santa could do it, then so could the mayor. He got stuck only once and said, Thank the Lord, that ain't quite as big as my buddy, Rob Ford. When he saw the Who stockings all hung in a row, These stockings, he grinned, are the first things to go. Then he slithered and slunk, with a smile most unpleasant, around the whole room, and he took every present. He'd forced out and fired his workers, but that wasn't enough. Now he was going to take all their kids' Christmas stuff. And he stuffed them in bags. Then the mayor very nimbly stuffed all the bags one by one up the chimney. Then he slunk to the icebox. He took the Who's feast. He took the Who pudding. He took the roast beast. Suddenly he turned around and saw a small Who, little Cindy Lou who was not more than 2. The mayor had been caught by this little Who daughter, who'd got out of bed for a cold cup of water. She stared at the mayor and said, Santa Claus, why? Why are you taking our Christmas tree? Why? But you know that old mayor was so smart with false factses. He said, I am doing it just to keep down your mom's taxes. And when Cindy Lou Who went to bed with her cup, he went to the chimney and stuffed the tree up. Then the last thing he took was the log for their fire. Then he looked around, and when he left the house, there wasn't a crumb too small for a mouse. McLaren, Ford, and Hudak would do the same to all Ontario houses, leaving crumbs much too small for the other Who's mouses. But in Bonfield, other workers will never need fear, 'cause brave Bonfield workers will stop them right here. Pooh-pooh to the Who's. He was marishly humming. They're finding out soon that no Christmas is coming. They're just waking up. I know just what they'll do. Their mouths will hang open a minute or two. Then the kids down in Bonfield will all cry boo-hoo. That's a noise, grinned the mayor, that I simply must hear. So he paused, and the mayor put a hand to his ear. And he did hear a sound rising over the snow. It started in low, then it started to grow. But the sound wasn't sad. It was the most merry ever. 'Twas the whole town of Bonfield singing Solidarity Forever. Every person in Bonfield, the tall and the small, stood with their workers with no hesitation at all. The mayor hadn't stopped Christmas from coming. It came. Somehow or other, it came just the same. And the mayor, with his mayor feet ice cold in the snow, stood puzzling and puzzling. How could it be so? It came with no contract, and workers still fired. Why are they happy? They've not been rehired. And he puzzled for hours till his puzzler was sore. Then the mayor figured out what he did not know before. Maybe it's the people who work for this town who make Christmas happen and keep it around. And what happened then? Well, in Bonfield they say that the mayor's little mind grew 3 sizes that day. And the minute the mayor got more brains in his gourd, he stopped trying to be quite so much like Rob Ford. And he negotiated a reasonable deal with his workers. And when he had gotten them all back to work, the mayor didn't feel quite so much like a jerk. And that Christmas morning, when he joined in the feast, the mayor himself carved the roast beast.